The civilization has improved the living conditions of people. Poverty has been reducing very, very significantly throughout the globe. But we have major challenges in disaster management. We remain prone to major disasters, both natural, man-made. Even in a country like India, there are major fire disasters, there are earthquake disasters, there are issues of urban flooding, road safety. Of course, there is a challenge of climate change, and any economic prosperity, any progress in economic development of the people will be totally challenged if we do not take care of the disasters. In that respect, this is an important discussion that needs to be held at various levels on how we can improve our resilience against disasters.
Climate change and disasters are now going to be the key issues for a country like India. The IPCC unambiguous messages are that the climate change is going to impact at least some key areas like for example, temperatures are going to rise, the sea level is going to rise, and natural hazards are going to rise. And in the context of India, this becomes very important because we have a very different kind of demography, and the kind of the country is so diverse. We have coastal areas which are very prone. We have Himalaya which is very prone, and therefore this is the natural disasters are going to rise. This is going to impact the economy of the country. The challenges are for disaster managers and also for weather forecasters. How do they predict the natural hazard with high accuracy, and also how we manage the disasters at ground. In that context, I think the symposium which is being organized by NIDM and DST is very relevant and topical. I think a kind of range of participants from different agencies and institutions are participating. I think the symposium will debate on these challenges, and definitely will work on the solution that can come out for addressing these challenges.
I compliment and congratulate NIDM for organizing this event, and this is basically for convergence of efforts of climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction. I think the recommendations of this workshop will be very useful for both, for disaster risk reduction as well as our efforts in climate change. And the experts which they have selected for this, they are very eminent, and I'm sure that this 2 days event will be a great success, and it will give us substantial material, to disseminate to the people and to the experts working in this area. I wish them all the best.
We as GIZ, German Technical Corporation, are very happy to be associated to this symposium on disaster resilience. It's an issue that's to our heart, to the heart of what also Germany is working on and would like to continue working on with India. in how far can we mitigate and help those who are touched by extreme weather occasions circum this, and once that has happened, and then at the same time, how can they better be prepared for that? And this conference is yes, getting the actors together, getting policy planners together, and it's an exchange that will, yes, I hope bring forward the subject matter and start new initiatives on this in India. So, thank you.
I'm very happy to be here in this international symposium, which is being organized on a very important theme, which is the need of the hour. It's related to the sustainable development, green growth, disaster management. I am particularly happy that large number of organizations, agencies, and important individuals who have contributed and are contributing in these areas, they are participating, and they have joined hands. I am very happy the deliberations which will take place here and the recommendations which will emerge out of this international symposium will guide us in future for planning strategies and various implementation plans to deal with the disasters and also for green growth and sustainable development. I wish the event a great success, and I compliment the NIDM for such a organization.
I was talking about landslides in Himalaya because Himalaya young mountains is still rising. So it is very vulnerable to landslides. ये होगा अपने आप होगा चाहे आदमी भी न रहे तो भी होगा. So the question was that landslides तो ठीक है, पर इसके बाद क्या किया जाए? लैंडस्लाइड्स के डायमेंशंस बहुत हैं, वो इसके आदमी को डराता है. सेटलमेंट्स लोग पहाड़ छोड़ने की बात सोचने लगते हैं. फिर आज हम चिंतित होते हैं कि आपके जो बॉर्डर एरियाज़ हैं उसमें लोग नहीं रहेंगे तो डिफेंस कंट्री का क्या होगा. तो इन लैंडस्लाइड एक छोटा मोटा मामला नहीं, ये सोशल इकोनॉमिक और पॉलिटिकल मामला भी है. इसकी रिकवरी बहुत जल्दी शुरू करने के बाद, इसकी साइंस डेवलप करने के बाद, जो इकोलॉजिकली बैलेंस्ड हो, इसकी कोशिश करने की ज़रूरत है. एक रिसर्च एरिया बन सकता है नया, जो अब तक नहीं हुआ इस देश में. मैं ये बात कहना चाहता था. इज इट एनफ? इतना ही.
This is an international symposium which is being organized on disaster resilience and green for sustainable development. As you all know that right now most of the places the governments are working at the sustainable development goals which were decided by UN, and these 17 sustainable goals have some very important components which are related to the natural resources, on which our whole economy is dependent. I especially talked about soil, water and ecosystem services. As you all know that agriculture is the backbone of our economy. 50% of our population is associated with agriculture, and of those 50%, 85% or more are small and marginal farmers. And if anything happens in terms of whether it is weather aberration or floods or droughts, they are the most affected. They don't have any resource with them, they don't have any coping capacity, so we need to have a strategy. Second thing is, we have been intensifying our agriculture activities. Now, how do we take care that the environment is not affected negatively? Because a lot of complaints are there that the sort of agriculture we have been practicing has been affecting the environment. So my focus was on trying to develop nature-based solutions, whether it is soil management, water management, how do you look at environment, so that in future we are able to feed our huge population and also in harmony with nature.
It's a pleasure being here today, and the subject of climate change adaptation, climate change mitigation has been very close to my heart all these years. My association with the climate change activities of the Government of India started way back in 2008, when the Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, where they used to work at that point of time, had helped the government in preparing the National Action Plan on Climate Change. There are various mitigation measures that the PS's office has been involved in, and now I'm currently working in the Niti Aayog as the head of the science and technology vertical. Niti Aayog has a lot of policy initiatives that have been taken, that are being taken, but primarily amongst the important mitigation activities that I thought I'll highlight is the development of the advanced ultra-supercritical technology for coal-based thermal power generation. Now here what we do is we increase the pressure and temperature of the steam from subcritical, supercritical and ultra-supercritical levels to advanced ultra-supercritical levels, where the temperature of the steam goes to around 720 degrees Celsius and the pressure goes to about 300 bar. And at that high pressure and temperature, not only do we make our coal to work more for us, that is, we draw more energy for every kg of coal burnt. Not only that, we also mitigate the SOx, the NOx, and all the other greenhouse gas emissions that are traditional with coal-based generation. So while we say that our main source of energy will remain coal for a few more decades to come, but we also emphasize that we are going to burn our coal more efficiently and more responsibly. And while doing so, we will also continue to meet our targets, the international targets, which the Government of India has set to meet the climate change threat. Thank you.
These are very exciting times for India. India is in a rapid pace of development, and never before in the history of India there had been such an ambitious program for infrastructure development as we have now. Now the future lies in making success of these projects, and for that there are three things which are essential. One is that we must get committed to walk the talk. What that means in concrete terms, it means that we should integrate disaster mitigation with development planning at all costs. In seriousness, which means that in conduct of every project there should be due diligence, and then we must ensure that all the developmental projects, they remain safe and sustainable. The second thing is that we must always, no matter how successful the project is, we must always look for the lessons that we learn after completing the projects, so that the future programs benefit from those lessons, and these lessons are not only plowed back into the future programs but become part of the teaching curricula. The third thing is that there are always unknowns, uncertainties, and there has to be a determined effort to have contingency plans should anything go wrong at any point on time. Now normally, if we are very busy in launching projects after projects, we often lost sight of the fact that those which we have completed, they might run up into problems in future. So we have to try to find out a window of time to go through the details of this and provide for such of those measurements where we can monitor our own performance over a period of time. And finally, the success lies in ensuring that we always stay ahead of time, we always have due diligence, we make best use of the technology that develops, not blindly, but adopt it to our own needs of the country. If that is done, India has a very bright future.
This workshop which has been organized here on disaster risk reduction and green growth. So in my view, I think this is what is really required. This is need of the hour, is to try and see that how best we can integrate the nature-based solutions and the green growth solutions along with the other infrastructure and non-infrastructure, structural or non-structural measures, and enabling policies and the institutions to better cope up with the disasters and better come up with the disaster risk management in rural and the urban areas.
I would like to congratulate NIDM, Ministry of Home Affairs, for organizing a very important meeting contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals. The focus is coming on different areas. Particularly, I would like to emphasize where I am chairing a session on disaster resilience and green growth. These are the very, very important for achieving the goals of Sendai framework of disaster risk reduction. In country like India, when we are moving from transitional energy economy towards the more non-conventional and renewable energy resources, I think this session will bring lot of opportunity and the successful stories already going on in different parts of the country. It is very important that scientific community should link their researches with the policy making. There exists big gap between academic community and the policy making. This meeting where we are having people from policy makers, people from the academic community and people from community, they are going to contribute very substantially for achieving the goal of disaster resilience and green growth, but for achieving sustainable development goals. Particularly after the September 2015, when global community passed a very important resolution, that 17 SDG. After that, Paris climate action, India is also very much actively involved for promoting or disseminating the ideas of Paris climate action in order to involve the different cross-section of society, particularly looking the role of younger people, as we have the largest, youngest population in the world, and we can convert this whole youth resources for greening India, and this can become the mass movement in our country.
Good morning. India, in a very bad state of insufficiency in food supply, had grown phenomenally in the last 4 to 5 decades to a surplus level. We are surplus in cereals, surplus in fruits and vegetables, surplus in pulses, surplus in everything, surplus in milk. And so we are in a very comfortable position. But we cannot be complacent of our comfortableness because there are enemies. The enemies are the global warming and climate change. Unless we combat these enemies, our productivity will go down, production will go down, then we will go back again a state of insufficiency. Therefore, it is very important we fight our enemies, climate changes, floods and droughts, and then come out with new varieties that will grow in these conditions. And then we should have a contingent plan when there is a disaster occurring in the country. So all these are part of the climate change agriculture. This conference is talking about a holistic approach how to combat the enemy climate change. Thank you. Is that okay?
And I'd like to congratulate National Institute of Disaster Management for having this workshop on a very relevant theme right now, because this comes immediately after we've had the Climate Action Summit in New York, where Honorable Prime Minister was also there. And in this reference, agriculture is a major sector which is being impacted by climate change and also contributes to climate change. And in the process, a lot of livelihoods are also being impacted. So Ministry of Agriculture is taking steps to combat climate change, and because of the steps, in spite of climate change, we've been able to record huge productions, especially in the grains and pulses and horticulture sector. And one specific reference I would like to make is for use of bamboo in disaster resilient infrastructure, because we've had the entire Northeast which has been using bamboo traditionally for these structures, and they've resisted very well earthquakes and floods. And new structures have also come up in Uttarakhand, and they have lasted the vagaries of snow and earthquakes also. So we would like to partner with NIDM to take this agenda forward.
Capris 22 International Symposium was very well organized. The topics selected for each of the sessions actually brought in very good speakers who had vast experience in the concerned field. There was a lot of interaction between the speakers and all the delegates who were attending. It was actually a high-level forum where every topic could be discussed at great length, and each session sort of actually brought out new ideas that need to be pursued by the government, by institutions, by educational institutions, which would greatly help in pushing both sustainable development, achieving the sustainable development goals, and also specific areas connected with disaster management like health and training.